with Alzheimer's. And I see a lot of people I know. You know I'm not a speaker. I'm a dance teacher, so y'all just bear with me. I'm going to half read and half just tell it like it is. You spend all your life trying to do the right thing, live healthy, raise your family. Then you think you're going to have a little time to yourself to enjoy, and then whammo! Something like this happens. These are the words of my mother, Lou Michaels, in one of her clearer moments in the last few weeks. My mom just turned 80 years old on October the 16th. She's never smoked. She's never drank. She wasn't great on the exercising, but for the most part, she lived a pretty healthy life. In fact, even now, she's physically healthy as a horse. Somewhere along the way, though, her mind decided to rebel. I took Mom to the doctor about 5 or 6 years ago because I was seeing signs. She was diagnosed as possibly having Alzheimer's, but it was very, very early, so no medication or anything. But she refused to believe it. Then 2.5 years ago, I was laying in the bed one morning, and actually I was asleep, and I woke up to find my mother standing at the foot of my bed. My daughter had left the house unlocked when she went to school. And Mom said, "Where am I supposed to meet those 3 girls on Piney Forest Road?" And I said, "What 3 girls?" And she said, "I've been riding up and down Piney Forest Road looking for those girls, and I can't find them anywhere." So I jumped out of the bed. I was more confused at that point, I think, than she was because I had no idea what was going on. So I told her to go in the living room. I made her some coffee. I said, "Sit here for a minute. Let me go get, take a shower real quick, and we might need to go see Dr. Harris." So I took her to Dr. Harris. He immediately admitted her. We did a CT and an MRI, and she was diagnosed with Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. At first, we tried keeping her at home. We had a wonderful sitter, Deborah Moore, wonderful lady. And she did her absolute best with Mom. But Mom fell trying to get out of the shower one day, and Deborah, as a little bitty lady, caught my mom. And it was then that we decided we needed to do something else. Then we started looking for places for her to be, and we found that in Danville, there was only one facility that would take Alzheimer's patients once they get to a certain point. There's assisted living, and then there's memory care. Mom at the time, and still is right now, qualified for assisted living. She's been at Emeritus now for 2 years. In those 2 years, she's gone from someone who requires little assistance to someone who has to be constantly reminded that she's already eaten, that she does in fact live there, and that she won't be going home each night. My mother has in one day called me 134 times. Trust me, I had a friend count, 134 times. Always the same thing. Where am I? When am I going home? Why am I here? Why can't I go live at my house? I'm very honest with my mother. Each time she asks, I go through the whole story again. I try to explain the dementia as best I can, trying to explain to her what her doctors are doing for it, and try to reassure her that we are doing the best we can for her. Every time she asks me, am I going to get better? Sadly, the answer is no. At this point, we're at a crossroads. She is declining. I can plainly see that, but my options in Danville are very limited. She's not a wanderer, as in leaving the building, but she wanders the halls continuously. Continuously. Cost is now a factor. My mom saved all her life. Put money in an IRA all her life. The money lasted 2 years. Her life savings, 2 years. Mom is mobile and can still feed herself. Therefore, we've been told she's not ready for the nursing home. We're in limbo as to where she should be. Her doctor in Lynchburg, and by the way, I'll recommend Dr. Betts in Lynchburg. He is the bomb. He's not quite sure she's ready for memory care because he doesn't want to take that freedom from her yet. I know that there are some people in there that my mom has phobias, and I'm afraid some things would scare her even more. So we're really, really in limbo. We don't know what to do at this point. On the other hand, up until last week, she was calling me at least 20 times a day. I'll admit, I do not go see my mother every day. I do not go see my mother every week. It's too hard. I've learned that she no longer remembers when I was there, even 10 minutes after I've left. I have literally gotten in my car, and she has called me and asked me, when are you coming to see me? But I do talk to her a couple of times a day, and I go through the same speech about why she's there, why she can't come home, etc. The problem is there aren't a lot of options for people like her. I realize we're lucky that we can afford this at this point. I had often wondered what would happen to people who can't afford this care. I found my answer one night. I didn't mention previously that if I don't answer the phone, my mother has taken to calling the emergency room or the Danville Police Department to have them look for me. I've even spoken with the dispatch at the police department and told them to call me when she calls in. Sadly, every time she calls in, they have to go to Emeritus and check it out. So what I did was I downloaded a scanner app on my phone. I have an iPhone. I downloaded the scanner app so I could hear. At night, I turn my scanner on so I know she's calling in. On several occasions lately, I've heard calls come in from other dementia patients. Sometimes they're taken to the hospital, where most times they are turned away. And sometimes they are even put in custody until they can be admitted to a state facility. But then a few days later, I hear the same names, same scenario, same result. So while I have my problems concerning my mom, I also thank God we are able to provide for her with outside care for now. That may change in the near future as costs rise. It's just a shame that there aren't more options. A lot of you know me from my post on Facebook about my mom. I like to post the funny things. Like the day she asked me if I was pregnant, and I said, nope. Are you? She said, nope. I said, we're good. We went through a phase where she was hallucinating. She was seeing puppies and kittens in her room. My son was with me. We went in her room one day. She was pointing in the corner, showing us the puppies and the kittens. DJ started cleaning up her room a little bit. There was a little tray of water sitting in the floor. Don't move that. That's for the puppies and the kittens. But the puppies don't come in. They go through the corner there. They eat somewhere else. That's for the kittens. This came to a head when she started seeing bugs in her food, crawling on her skin, everywhere. She stopped eating like she was supposed to. The people at Emeritus would bring her another plate. Here's a fresh one. This one doesn't have bugs in it. I took her to the emergency room. She's laying on the stretcher, waiting for them to come in and see her, pointing at the clock, just happy as could be, watching the kittens on the clock hands move the clock fingers. Happy as could be. That day I took her back after they released her, took her by Mary's Diner, went in the cafeteria there because they had already had lunch. She opened up her roll from Mary's Diner and she said, I wish they would stop putting eyeballs in the food. So I opened mine up and I said, here's one that doesn't have eyeballs, you can have mine. The point is, there are sad moments, there are moments when I'm mad as hell, and there are funny moments. But you just roll with the punches and remember that you are not the one who's sick. Thank you.